Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks for joining me here today. We're taking a look at Shiba Inu and just a quick understanding what's going on because it does appear that it's making a comeback, right? I got a lot of requests for this here recently and I covered it about a week ago, but it's done some things since then for obvious reasons. So if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been in the industry for a very, very long time and I do have a Signal community. Feel free to reference the link in the description below. I have a video describing what that entails, but I actually share all my trades with my community members. The community is growing fast, so jump in there before it's too late. Now, we'll go ahead and take a look here at Bitcoin. And what we do is we look at the one-day chart first. I always like to look at this just to preface any video because of the fact that there's oftentimes a common correlation. Now, even though, Shiba Inu does move kind of independent of Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin did very well today. Shiba Inu is doing very well today. There's a correlation, right? There's that fear, uncertainty, and doubt index that applies, right? If people are greedy on Bitcoin, they're going to be greedy on altcoins. So anyways, we'll take a look at that here. So first things first, with Bitcoin, just to quickly preface here, we have an ascending triangle, basically ascending wedge pattern that was moving up to 56,000. It broke very hard today. That was expected. I expect some kind of sell-off in the next 24 hours. I think we're going to see a red day tomorrow, just based on the simple fact. Early in the week, the whales are going to take their profit. That's just kind of the way it goes, right? So just be prepared for that. To see another leg up would be probably unlikely, I feel. And a lot of other people that I know that are, consistent traders are shorting right now. So I may or may not consider that, but regardless, that is kind of what's going on. But we have a support level at 56,000. Secondary is 53,800 and 52,600 below that, right? So we've got three nice support channels here just in case we were to lose that 56,000. Also, furthermore, not really important, but the moving averages are well below the price right now. So just note that they're going to start creeping up and potentially working as support levels. All right, so let's take a look here at Shiba Inu. And obviously, look, the last time I covered it, that was 1 week ago. It was testing these support and resistance channels here. We can pretty much call that a day and go ahead and mark some new ones here. So let's just go ahead and take a quick look here, right? So first of all, we've got an obvious support here, which appeared to be closed twice in a row. So we can just paraphrase and say 2283 is the support there. We got a secondary support here at approximately 2600. Go ahead and pull that guy out there. And then, of course, we got potential secondary support / resistance, depending on how this candlestick closes, right there at about 2792. And then, of course, the current price where it's at. But let's just go ahead and hit this right here. Let's go ahead and do, what is that? It's about 31. Sorry, I keep pressing the wrong guy here. 31, what is that, 32? We could pretty much say it's 3,200. All right. So I like to draw those out first because it really gives us an understanding kind of what's going on. Because we can see these little, this inner channel and then of course the upper and lower. It's pretty common. I mean, honestly, if we were to probably throw Fibonacci on here, we'll probably see a correlation. Let's just out of curiosity, let's see. Let's find the lowest point and go up to the highest point. Wow. Isn't that crazy how Fibonacci works? Look at that. Every single support and resistance level that I created is effectively on the Fibonacci. Okay, so just know we're on the right track here with these support and resistance levels. Moving forward as well, what we want to look at is, of course, and typically I'd look at the moving averages, but not much to really note there. The 50 is way behind. We want to take a look at RSI. And this is common. This is a really normal characteristic for coins in this scenario. In other words, the RSI is above 70. It has been for some time. The RSI started to taper back down. It tried to come below 70, but got basically bounced off of the support up here and then continued to stay above. So here's the great thing. RSI has different channels, right? So from 30 to 50, that's considered bearish, essentially bearish divergence. Bullish convergence is 50 to 70. And of course, you have that extreme convergence, of course, from 70 or higher, but the bottom line is each line is essentially a support level, right? So we can pretty much consider 70 RSI as a support level now here for Shiba Inu, right? At least as long as it continues to have bullish qualities, bullish sentiment. We'll look at other time frames to identify that, but generally speaking, RSI is telling us right now that we've got some pretty good momentum, and the fact that the RSI is holding true as a support level. MACD is very, very flawed right now. We don't even need to worry about that, but keep in mind if it starts to taper off and kind of do one of these guys, then we want to consider other options, because the fact that there's probably some kind of likely bearish divergence on the horizon. But see, again, if we look at Bitcoin really quick, look at these days of Bitcoin. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. They're very, very connected. Right, so now granted, this spike right here was, from what I understand, a very large whale that essentially bought a tremendous amount of Shiba Inu, drove the price up, created that influx that we all just kind of try to FOMO in, right? So with all this fear of missing out right here, ended up with all this essentially as a nice consolidation period. But keep this in mind, it's concurrent with Bitcoin, right? This movement this week. Therefore, we can kind of expect Shiba Inu to, in a sense, follow Bitcoin. That's why we look at Bitcoin first, because there's always a correlation. Everything prior to now, maybe not. But right now, the last 5 trading days, I would say that we're seeing a lot of concurrent behavior. Regardless, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. So we obviously see our support and resistance channels. Moving averages are all good. RSI is in between 50 and 70. This is pretty standard. You see this when RSI is over 70 and the 70 is working as a support level on the 1-day chart. You'll see on the 4-hour chart the 50 and the 70 essentially being the same thing. In other words, the 50 is now the 70, and this has this nice little support channel. So this is great. We like to see the price above 50, below 70 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. So all good things here. We've also got a convergence that just occurred on the MACD. That was roughly, wait, what time was that? Oh, it was 5 a.m. Okay. But keep this in mind. Look at that. That MACD convergence, which normally leads to a breakout, got rejected at this resistance level here. Again, on the Fibonacci retracement. I also marked that too on the 1-day chart. That was a resistance level when it's getting stopped at about 3,200. So keep in mind, 3,200 is essentially a strong support level right now. What we want to do is wait to see how the price responds to 2,800 here as a support. Okay. Because the price bounces off support level here, we're in good shape, because keep this in mind, we'd be making higher highs and higher lows at that point, or at least 1 higher high and 2 higher lows. Therefore, we can expect the price to probably break out to the upside here if we can get a bounce off of this and essentially continue upwards. But the important thing is that it needs, the candlesticks on the 4-hour chart needs to close above 31.25. That gives us a higher high, and that gives us that momentum to kind of push through that resistance level. So just keep that in mind. That's important to note when you're going through this here. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart and call it a day. And just to quickly note, on the 1-hour, I always look at the Ishimoku cloud. Big surprise, we're above the cloud. But keep this in mind as well, the cloud can work as a support level. So with the price kind of continuing downwards here, we could see it come down here and ride the support and push it on up, right? Because the cloud is very good about working as a support level in a bullish trend or bullish when there's bullish momentum, right? It's another thing to understand, and if you're new to the channel, you don't know what the cloud is. It's a very underrated tool. I think a lot of traders oftentimes overlook it. It's concurrent with the MACD. In other words, the MACD on the 4-hour chart gives us really good indication of a long buy signal to go long essentially as a swing trader. But the 1-hour chart, Ishimoku cloud, gives us that further confirmation that you're on the right track, right? So if you take a look here, the price broke above the cloud. This would have been a consideration to buy, because the fact that it's broken above the cloud and again it's moving up, right? Again, retrospect and hindsight's 2020, but had you got in back here, you would have experienced the same thing. I recognize that's just pure luck in some cases because no one expected to come up that way. But now that we're here, of course, just keep that in mind. Another thing to understand as well is the fact that Shiba Inu is extremely overextended right now. So if we were to look at the Fibonacci retracement on the 1-day chart and kind of just go with from bottom to top, just say find its lowest point to the highest point. While this might seem like a lot, the highest point that we're going to see, and I would say that this year is the highest point we're going to see, that is what, 773.50, right? Now, even though that's a lot higher than where we're at right now, don't get me wrong, that's still significant growth, right? That's essentially 2.5 to 3x of where we're at presently. That's not going to be anywhere close to a cent. So anybody telling you we're going to see a cent before the end of the year is crazy, right? This will not happen. It'll take years to get there, if at all. In fact, I don't even think it has the right amount of capitalization to do that. Regardless, just keep that in mind. There's not enough coins to be able to allow that to happen. It's a farce if you hear that. So I just like to clear the air because I get that question a lot. Like, Shiba, to 1 cent. Nope, never going to happen. Years, if ever. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, anyways, enough about that. I hope you found benefit here. My goal here, my prediction is essentially that this will break this resistance here eventually. Will it happen today? It's hard to say. It'll actually probably, if it does happen, it'll be in the next 24 hours. Again, we need to see higher highs and higher lows, right? So we need to see that continuation. If we don't have any of those higher highs and higher lows, we're going to be in bad shape. Okay, so again, we want to see this continue upwards and then break, right? So we need to see some higher highs and higher lows in order to be in good shape here for Shiba Inu. So just consider this here. If you have a position right now, it wouldn't be terrible to consider taking some profits, right? Because if the price does come down and bounces off one of these 3 support levels, you can always average your position down. Okay, so I always recommend to my patrons, because I have a trading community, and of course we make sure that we take profits while we still can. Yes, there's some missed opportunities, but we're profitable, and there's a reason for that, based on the simple fact that you can't just get greedy and expect this to continue to go up to the moon, right? It could moon, sure, yeah, to an extent, but what goes up must come down, and just keep in mind that this is one of those overextended scenarios, and I feel like it'd be best to take profits while you still can, considering the fact that it'll probably be stuck in this channel for some time, and if it does break above, it's not going to do another one of these, okay? And if it does another one of those, that type of increase, and your average positions here, it's only going to be, 0.25, 0.5 x, so to speak, instead of what you could have got had you got in there. So not to say you missed the boat, but the boat is essentially halfway out in the ocean right now. It's not going to necessarily get you where you need to go. Anyways, hope you understand that. Obviously, if you have a position from down here, why not hold on to it, right? But it's a different story. If you just averaged up right here in this current position, be careful. Wait for it to kind of test support, because I do feel like we're going to see the bottom drop out of Bitcoin tomorrow. Not necessarily terrible sell-off, but I think we're going to see somewhere in the range of 56 to 54,000. That channel will be tested here soon. Be ready for it. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for joining me here today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.